everyone, and welcome back to Ms. Craftsalots Lair. I am Barbie. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and if you are new to this channel, welcome. If you are an existing subscriber to this channel, welcome back. Today I am here because I wanted to show you how to make this super cute card. This one, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking there's a little bit more that I can do with it, so I'm going to go into that a little bit more here. But to go over really fast what we need for this card, super simple. The stamp set I'm using today is the Gather Together stamp set, and we're using the Big Pumpkin and the Gather Together sentiment. Papers are my go-to card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5. And it's scored and folded at 4 1/4, so it will fold up real nice and neat there. And then I have 3 strips of the Plaid Tidings DSP. I chose 3 different ones that I really like. I'm gonna have to get more of this paper. I'm just gonna have to throw that out there right now. This is a necessary that I need more. So to go along with the colors that are in the Plaid Tidings paper, I am going to be using the Blackberry Bliss Pumpkin Pie, and then I'm adding in Soft Suede because it kind of goes, it's at one of those neutrals that kind of go with everything. So that is what we need for the papers and the inks. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere these papers quick to the front of my card using the Stampin' seal. And then oh, I did tell you I was going to be adding something else to it. I'm going to be using the linen thread. You'll see how that comes up in just a second. So I wanted to go this way because I wanted to put the darker color in the middle, just the way I'm thinking. So I wanted to put the Blackberry Bliss heavy piece in the middle. Now seal is a flicker, and when I say it's a flicker, you're gonna want to put it down and then kind of flick to the side in order to get it to break off and tear off easier. I'm still kind of getting used to that, and I still have to remind myself, saying that the Stampin' seal just is still fairly new. So for this, I'm giving myself about 1/4 inch from the, I was going to say the seam, from the fold of the cardstock. And then I want to do about 1/8 inch between the strips. So yes, the seal is a little bit to get used to, but I'll get there. I don't think I mentioned that these are 1/2 inch strips, but I didn't mention how long they are. I cut my strips just a hair longer than 5.5. So I have a little bit of an overhang. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's a little bit of an overhang from the paper, and I will show you what I do with that here in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these guys on to my paper, stick myself to them too, because, you know, that's cool. And so like I said, about 1/8 inch, but I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not really measuring it out. If it looks too wide, it's too wide. If it looks like they're too close, they're too close. So now that I have these on the front of my card, I have, oh, excuse me, I have them all lined up, even with the top of my card. The bottom of the card has all this nice overhang. So what I do is I flip my card over and I open it up, take out my snips. I love these snips, just saying. And then go ahead and just trim down these little bits that are left over at the bottom, trying not to cut into the card base itself, because that would just be a major oops. Am I saying I've never done that? No. I am not saying that. That has definitely been done in this craft layer. So there is the front. Now we just need to do the stamping. And for that, I'm going to start off with the pumpkin pie. And then I do have another, I forgot to mention the blender pen. We'll get there. So I have my pumpkin, and I'm going to go ahead and ink it up with a pumpkin pie. And I want to stamp this one, I would say about 1/2 inch from the bottom of the card. And that's all kind of just eyeballing it because of the fact that I'm not really measuring right now. And for this pumpkin, I have an extra clear block because I'm going to tap into the pumpkin pie just a little bit to get some of that ink on my on the block. Now, I find this way to be a little bit more ink reserved. If you put an entire drop of your re-inker on your, what I call the palette, it's going to be too much and you're going to be wasting quite a bit of ink. So, I'm going to take out my scrap paper to clean my blender pen off on. And I am going to go ahead and start coloring this pumpkin. Now I am going to turn it over because I'm going to start on the bottom and color up because I think that it needs to be a little darker on the bottom and lighter on the top. Of course, if you have blends, you can color this in with blends. If you have the markers, you can use the markers as well. But I would probably recommend going with a crushed curry to color your pumpkin in then, because you'll want that detail from the pumpkin still to shine through. And it's this bigger piece that is kind of harder to color in, but if you start off when you re-ink and then start off on where you have the stamped image, you can blend it out a little bit better. Because that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to get the darker on the bottom and lighter on the top. Like such. I'm going to come over here and get this piece real fast. And there we have the pumpkin mainly done. And then I'm going to go ahead and, saying that I've working on the pumpkin, I'm going to go ahead and grab the soft suede the same way. You really don't need a lot, just a little. Look at, not a whole lot, does not take a whole lot to do this stem. And you don't want to go over too much with your blender pen on the regular Whisper White, otherwise it's gonna bubble up and it's gonna destroy the paper underneath it. So it really doesn't take that much ink to achieve that look. Go ahead and clean this off quick. Cover this up because it is done. And then I am going to take out my Blackberry Bliss and my Gather Together sentiment. I'm going to stamp this right over the pumpkin. I'm going to stamp this right over the pumpkin as straight as possible. If it's a little off, I don't think anyone would notice, but as straight as possible. Now, the last step that I have added to this card. This is where I stopped for the original card. So, see, this is where I stopped with the original card. But I was looking at it, I'm thinking it looks a little plain. So, take out my snips. So I'm going to take the linen thread and I'm going to make a simple little bow to put on top of the pumpkin. Let's see if I can do this on camera. Something always happens when I can tie bow after bow after bow off of camera, but as soon as I get on camera, it's a disaster. So, and I want to cinch this up real nice and good. There we go. That took me a little bit of time. And I'm going to trim off the tails a bit here because we don't need super long tails and we don't want it dragging off of your card. And then I'm going to take a bit of a glue dot here. And these, if you're saying, wait a second, what are those? These are the glue dots that come in the paper pumpkin. I have glue dots in a box from Stampin' Up! Right here. And as you can tell, I am using my paper pumpkin ones a lot more, and I still have the old paper or the old packaging for my glue dots. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bow on the glue dot and get that all nice and tucked away. And then I want to put that kind of at the base of the stem. So it looks like that. So comment below if you like the without a bow or with bow better. And until next time, thank you for watching this video. If you like this project, please like, share, subscribe, and watch more. You can find links to my Stampin' Up! Store, blog, dimensions, and the product list in the description below. Until next time.